This is a video of the basics of how to use the heating system within the house. So as you know, there's three parts to the heating system. There is the downstairs heating, the upstairs heating and the hot water. All three work off the one controller in the utility room, but they are all separate in the way that they work. So in the controls, I'll just drop the front door. What you've got is a number of buttons. On the left hand side you've got a plus button and a minus button, which also doubles up as an advanced and a boost. Then you've got an advanced and boost in the middle, and on the right hand side you've got enter, copy and the green button just here, which is the set button. At the very bottom you've got three blue buttons, and they are the select buttons for the different modes of the heating. So I'll just make it light up. So on the screen you've got heating number 1 on the left, which is the upstairs heating system. In the middle you've got heating number 2, which is the downstairs heating system. And on the right you've got the water, which basically means the hot water tank. But it also controls the towel rails in the bathroom and the 2 ensuite bathrooms. So the buttons at the bottom, advance means if I press that, it'll advance the heating system now to stay on until it's next due to go off. So if the heating system's off and you press the advanced button, as you see it lights up, and what that means is that heating system now stays on until the end of the next session. So if the heating's off, you press it, it will stay on until the next session. I'll press it again so it turns the advance off. The boost button, if you press boost on any of the three systems, means that the heating or hot water is boosted for an hour. So if the heating or the hot water is turned off and you press boost, it will give you an extra hour. So at the end of the day, if your heating's gone off at 10 o'clock at night, for instance, and you press boost, it would run until 11 o'clock. There's a little delay when you press the button. There you go. The blue button at the bottom changes the mode. So heating all day, heating permanently on, heating off, or auto, which is what we tend to run it on. So the three buttons at the bottom change the mode of each of those. It's actually quite easy to use. Once you've set it, you don't need to touch it. And one thing that's worth noting is the time on the system does automatically change as the clocks go backwards and forwards. So it's not a time clock that you need to change. It does automatically change itself as and when the clocks go forwards or backwards. So the next thing I'll show you is the set button. If I press set, what it does is it takes you in the settings menu for heating number 1, heating number 2 and water. And the buttons at the side take you up and down the three menus. So if I go into the top one and press the enter button, it tells me it's Thursday. Press enter again, it tells me that the heating's going to come on at 5:50 in the morning, go off again at 1:40. The middle area we're not using, so as you can see it comes on at 2:10 and goes off at 2:10, so we're not using that one at all. But if you wanted a middle part of the day where the heating comes on, you can. Then it comes on again at 15:10 and goes off at 21:40. If I wanted to change any of those, you press the plus or the minus button. So at the minute it's showing 5:50, if I press plus, it goes to 6 o'clock, press it again, 6:10, etc. So I'm going to put it back to where it is, 5:50. And then I press enter and the block then moves to the next one. So what time it would go off. Again, if I wanted to change it, I press plus or minus and it changes it. Press enter again and it scrolls through the different ones. So again, if I want to change the time it comes on in the afternoon, I press plus or minus to adjust the time and enter takes me to the end. Takes me to the next day, so Friday. When it's going to Friday, I press enter, then I set the time that it comes on and goes off. So again, plus or minus would change any of those times. One little trick that's worth knowing that saves an awful lot of time, when you've got one day set as you wanted it, so if you wanted the Friday's time to be the same as Saturday, you get to the last one, you press the copy button, so it says copy. It copies those times, and then when you go to the next day, instead of going into the day, just press copy and it enters exactly the same times into the next day. Sunday, if I wanted the same, I press copy, it'll put exactly the same times into the next day. Press the set button, it takes you back into the next menu. So the next one down is exactly the same as your heating. And again with the water, if I go into the water, Thursday it starts at, because that's what today is. And as you can see, we have the time set the same for the hot water and the heating every day of the week, because what we were told when it was installed by the plumber is that if the heating's on, it's cheap to run the water. It's actually cheaper to keep it just topped up with heat as opposed to letting it cool down and then heat all the way back up. So we run the hot water at exactly the same time as we run the heating. Once you've done it through all the days of the week, you go back and you press set again, and it takes you out of the settings menu. Also in the settings menu, you've got holiday mode, which I believe is if you go away for a week or something like that, you can set it to go off for the week and come back on before you return. And the defaults are your times, days of the week, etc. You can program it if it is wrong, but I've never had it wrong. But you can actually set that to be different. Once you've pressed the set button, it takes you back into the home menu. You can then just close the door, which hides the buttons, or some of the buttons. As you can see, it's 22:21, so the heating's gone off now. It will come back on at 10 to 6, so that's upstairs and downstairs, and also the water. So we've got hot water in the morning. If you need anything else, let us know, but hopefully that gives you a basic understanding of how it works. Thank you.